Hi, I'm Jean Armendariz with Mode Realty Network.
And I'm Carissa Peterson with Settlers Bank.
So Carissa, what's the main difference between a customary single-family home loan and a construction loan?
So construction loans are usually short-term agreements. They generally are less than a year, and they provide funding for the building of a home, whereas a standard customary loan is funding for the purchase of a home that's already existing.
Compared to a traditional single-family home loan, what kind of a down payment am I going to need for my construction loan?
Well, that really depends on what type of construction loan you do, and there are several. A lot of institutions will have as little as 5% down needed for the down payment. Some institutions will require as much as 25% down. So it really depends on the loan program as well.
What kind of time frame does it take to get pre-approved for a construction loan?
Well, that's a good question. Really, it doesn't take any longer to get pre-approved for a construction loan than it does for a regular mortgage. It's usually anywhere between a few hours up to a few days. Depends on how quickly you can get your information to the lender. Pre-approvals are only good for usually 30 to 90 days, and that's because your financial information that you provide at the beginning of the loan may expire during that time frame.
Is it going to cost me more to do a construction loan?
Yeah, unfortunately, it costs a little bit more to do a construction loan because it's mostly due to the draws, inspection fees, and the increased title insurance fees that accompany a construction loan.
For the folks at home, what is a draw?
So draws are the process by which a builder takes money from your construction loan and gets paid so he can pay his contractors and pay for the materials going into your property. Typically there's 4 draws during a construction time frame, and you will sign off on a draw just to make sure that the work is done before the builder can request those funds. Once he requests funds, he puts it into a draw request, and the title company will then make sure the work is done. They'll send an inspector out to make sure everything is on the property and on site, and then they will request the funds from the bank. The title company is also responsible for collecting lien waivers to make sure that the work is complete and that nobody has the right to come back against your property and say they didn't get paid.
So the system just makes sure that the builder, their subs, and all their suppliers are getting paid as the process goes along.
Exactly. It's kind of a checks and balance system.
Sure. We all know that construction doesn't always run as smoothly as one would hope. What happens with your construction loan if there are changes in the middle?
Those are often called overages, and sometimes there are overages if you're adding things to the property that weren't picked out at the beginning. Usually overages are paid for by the buyer, so those are out-of-pocket costs. Sometimes, however, if it increases the value of the property and we're going to do another appraisal at the end for your end loan financing, sometimes those costs can be rolled into the loan. It really depends on the loan program and the lender.
So check with the lender beforehand.
Yes, exactly.
What happens at the end of the construction period?
Well, then you're getting into your end loan or your permanent financing. That's when you are making your payments throughout the remaining term of the loan.
Is there always an end loan?
Not always. Some builders and some financial institutions will do just a single closed loan. Sometimes there's 2 loans, sometimes there's 1. Both of them have good and bad, so make sure you talk to your lender about that.
One of the other terms that gets bandied about when we're talking about new construction is turnkey. What is a turnkey construction loan?
Well, turnkey, simply put, means that the home is sold as completed. So the builder builds the house and you buy it after it's done. That's different from a regular construction loan because construction, you're actually purchasing the property before the construction begins.
So with turnkey, the builder is the one responsible for funding that construction.
That's correct.
Carissa, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate your time and all the information.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jean.